Bruce Wayne, why are you dressed up like Batman?
Hello, my trigger happy friends. My name is Stevie Cade, and thank you for joining me as I continue reviewing every single live-action Batman movie. Before we jump into the next review, if you could hit that subscribe button and the little bell ding thing so you get notified every time I upload a new video. So grab your keyboards, head down to the comment section, and let's review Batman Returns. In this movie, we see a monstrous penguin who teams up with businessman Max Shreck to take down the Batman. But when Shreck's timid assistant Selina Kyle transforms into Catwoman, she teams up with Penguin and Shreck to also take down Batman. But sparks fly unexpectedly when she confronts the caped crusader. I have created a Batman checklist, every essential thing that I think Batman should have in every movie. What additions or takeaways that I can find between films. So let's start off with our checklist for Batman Returns. The Bat Suit. This is an upgraded version of the original. It's more tactical, less muscly, it's thinner rubber, it's cleaner, and it not only shows off a bigger budget of the film, but also shows off what could be taken as an evolution of Batman and his armor. And the bat symbol matches the actual Batman logo in this movie. The Bat Vehicle. We have the Batmobile. This is fairly the same exact design as it was in the original movie, but it does have an upgraded armor system, which is basically just computer graphics rather than that stop motion thing they did in the first film. Better budget. There is the addition of the bat symbols on the rims of the Batmobile. That's a little iffy, but passable. We get the Bat Ski Boat in this movie. It's an effective, fast water transportation. It's a bit bulky for what it was used in the film for, going through the sewer tunnels, which begs the question of how it even got in there in the first place, or what would happen if the tunnels narrowed at any point in time. But suspension of disbelief. It looks cool. It was effective. I would have liked to have seen it on actual water, but yeah, sewers work. The Bat Cave. There were some minor functional changes, but the overall Bat Cave stayed the same. Still to date, my favorite Bat Cave thus far because it actually looks like a cave. It's a huge crevasse as opposed to just a small little room. Alfred gets his own little section as well so he can help Batman and feel useful. And we also catch a glimpse into the actual bat suit chamber, which looks very much just like a regular closet. And then there's the gadgets. And we get a new Batarang with programmable attack patterns. And hopefully the bad guys wait around long enough for you to program these attack modes. It does take a second. And we also get to see my personal favorite, a chemical burn cartridge used in a defensive attack. That thing he throws at Catwoman's arm.
Life's a bitch. Now so am I.
The rest of the gadgets in the film are just kind of watered down versions of what we've seen before. I'm specifically speaking of the grappling zipline. We saw that really cool one in the 1989 Batman film, the one that opened up in front of the Joker's face and kind of shot in opposite directions. The new one just kind of looks like a regular one that you would find at the grappling hook store. It doesn't look as cool as what I'm trying to say. So that's what I like and don't like on the Batman checklist, which will be featured in every Batman review moving forward. So now, moving on to what I like about this film, the overall aesthetic. The film looks beautiful, and actually the first movie made in Dolby Digital. Many shots look like they leaped right out of the comic books, and once again, you can tell there was a major bump in the budget. And it's also one of the last films to be shot in the old Hollywood style with giant production sets, which actually took up about 50% of Warner Brothers studio lots, and the use of miniatures to give the illusion of a much broader scale of a city. Now, the pacing of the film. I thought the pacing was really good. It wasn't too slow during the slower points, and it wasn't like constantly in-your-face action. It weaved in and out of both just enough for me to hold on to the story and stay interested in it, while also giving me that cool Batman fun fighting stuff I like to see in every Batman movie ever. The plot. The plot of having Batman fight against Catwoman and the uprising Penguin who is cheating his way into the mayor position of Gotham is a very interesting plot line. I did like bringing all those characters together and the way that they did. The story, on the other hand, is something we'll dive into a little later, but the overall plot, I dug it. Michael Keaton as Batman and Bruce Wayne. Yes, he moved up on my list because in my last review, he was in the what I was on the fence about because he seemed kind of the same as both characters as he did in this one, but it was less one note. He was just a little bit more Batman when he was Batman and a little bit more Bruce Wayne when he was Bruce Wayne. Or maybe it was the overall film, put together that it just fit better into this movie than it did the last one. Either way, I dug this Batman and I dug this Bruce Wayne separately. Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. I really enjoy this version of Catwoman, this PTSD origin of hers. I really enjoy the dynamic between, the frumpy, just existing Selina Kyle, and she transforms into this carefree anarchist. And actually, Selina Kyle is playing 3 different characters in this film. She's playing Selina Kyle pre-murder attempt, she's playing Selina Kyle post-murder attempt, and then she's playing Catwoman. Obviously, the 2 extremes being Catwoman and the pre-murder attempt Selina Kyle. But then in the middle there, we have this different Selina Kyle who's trapped between both worlds. She yearns to have this perfect life, to have the house and the husband and happily forever after, but the Catwoman side of her is making her view life in a much more dramatic way, and we see her tugging back and forth throughout the film, at which point one of these sides will eventually take over.
I would love to live with you in your castle. I just couldn't live with myself, so don't pretend this is a happy ending.
I do have some minor issues with the Catwoman, a little too literal with the Catwoman thing, her cleaning herself, which really weirds me out when she does it. Like, I just see her licking vinyl and rubbing vinyl, wet vinyl on more vinyl. I feel like if I were to hear that in real life, it would sound like, when you rub your hand against a balloon, like a wet balloon, like, what? And then the whole 9 lives thing. It's a little too literal. She's not a metahuman, so, but whatever. It's just a minor thing that bothers me. Again, not enough that takes me out of the movie at all. And her costume is still the best costume ever. And even though Michelle Pfeiffer was very vocal about how much she hated this outfit, she is a trooper. She was pretty much vacuum sealed into the suit. And you can actually see this in the movie. You can actually see veins popping out of her head from the suit. Had to be very uncomfortable. But the do-it-yourself stitched vinyl version of the costume, it just really enhances the character mentally. She's like a Frankenstein meets Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde hybrid. The suit was created out of madness and gives Selina her alter ego she's been craving for.
I don't know about you, Miss Kitty, but I feel so much yummier.
But by the end of the film, her Catwoman alter ego eventually takes over fully as we see her in that last shot of the film. And I can't wait to see her in the next movie. Now, moving forward with what I'm on the fence about this film, Danny DeVito's Penguin. Now, please don't confuse with him being on the fence with me not liking this adaptation of the character. This is actually, again, one of my favorite adaptations of this character. I love the deformed, Gotham-hating, sewer-dwelling Oswald Cobblepot that we see. He's mysterious, and he knows all of Gotham's dirty little secrets. He is a living depiction of the filth that runs through Gotham and that Gotham is built upon.
If you have an iota of human feeling, take me instead.
I don't. So now.
And his costume design perfectly illustrates this message. But what the hell is that black shit coming out of his mouth? Like, seriously, what is that? But where I falter is that his hatred for Gotham isn't really fleshed out. He talks about how his parents abandoned him, and yes, that obviously gave him some major trauma, but he never discusses what Gotham did to him. Like, he was never shunned by Gotham at any point in time in his life that we know of before we see him in this movie. Until we see him, he's nothing but rumor of some dude that might live in the sewer. Would have liked to have seen maybe some flashbacks of Gothamites, treating him nasty or making fun of him or even abusing him in certain ways. Something to make his hatred for Gotham make sense and give it merit. And then he has a gang of circus sideshow performers. I don't see this as a very threatening gang. Yes, they do threatening things in the movie, like when they start running amok. Other than that, they don't feel like a gang. They literally just sit around, I don't know, eating grapes or whatever the fuck circus people do. And I don't feel threatened by these people at all. They're just there because the story needs them to be. Now, Danny DeVito's performance is stellar, and he was even known to stay in character in between shots. But the Penguin's odd sexual obsession really weirds me out. And it doesn't weird me out in a cool character development sort of way. It weirds me out in like a #MeToo sort of way. Like, I feel uncomfortable for the actors on the set during those moments. not uncomfortable for the characters in the scene, if that makes sense. And it really takes me out of the movie when he gets super perverted like that.
Just the pussy I've been looking for.
Moving right along with what I don't like about this film. That's right. There's actually a lot more I don't like about this film than I thought there would be. The story feels completely discombobulated. There's so much going on with so many different objectives at any given point in time. Although it is easy just to enjoy what you're watching on screen, but not follow everything that's going on in the story. I'm not even sure that Tim Burton knew what was going on in the story in certain parts of this film. Here are some prime examples. Selina Kyle's goals are what exactly? She wants to defeat Batman. Okay, she wants to defeat Batman, so she joins up with Penguin to defeat Batman. Okay, I can get behind that. That makes sense. And then right around the third act, her primary goal becomes to kill Max Shreck. Why wasn't this her goal the entire time? She could have attempted to kill Max Shreck multiple times and Batman interfered with that, and then that's why she wants to team up with Penguin to take Batman out so she can complete her main goal. But she doesn't have a primary goal in this film. Now, the Penguin's plan. His master plan is to kill all the firstborn children of Gotham. It's a bit gaudy, a little bit biblical, but it's whatever. But then now he wants to be mayor because Shreck told him to, wants him to, needs him to. That's not his plan. That's Shreck's plan. The Penguin really has no reason to run for mayor at all. As a matter of fact, it makes his plan even harder. Before, he could have just done his major plan in secrecy without anybody knowing, as he was just known to be a myth in the sewers. If he becomes mayor, then he will kill all of Gotham's firstborn and then attack the city with penguins with rockets attached to their back because Batman killed the Ice Queen and now he's taking the Batmobile out for a murderous joyride. What? There's just so much going on. It's hard to follow why it's happening. It's just happening. The only plan to me that makes any sense and is legit is when Selina Kyle shows up to the masquerade ball with the gun wanting to shoot Max Shreck. That is the most clear plan in this entire movie. And speaking of Shreck, the only redeeming quality of Max Shreck in this movie is that he is played by Christopher Walken.
Huh?
That's right, I'm Max Shreck. We going to stop the Batman. That's my Christopher Walken impression. It's not a very good one. Everything else about this character doesn't quite make sense. His power plant is supposed to draw energy from Gotham City for some reason. We don't really know what he's doing. It just sounds evil, so he's a bad guy because it sounds evil. I mean, even his costume design looks like he was dressed up in a high school play for, Sweeney Todd or something like this. It doesn't look professional. He stands out from everybody else because his hair looks fake, his makeup looks very packed on. He doesn't look right. He looks like he's not in a major motion picture. He looks like he's in a high school play. And he acts like he has all this power, yet one measly mayor has gotten in his way opening this power plant that is supposed to be his legacy. So why doesn't Max Shreck just run for mayor himself? Was that mentioned somewhere in the movie? Because I feel like that should have been mentioned somewhere in the movie, why he just doesn't run for mayor himself. I mean, he seems like the appropriate figure. The citizens of Gotham look at him as a positive public figure. I don't understand why he just wouldn't run for mayor himself and just get rid of that X factor that is Penguin. And why was this not Billy D. Williams as Two-Face? This should have been Two-Face. There were some rumors that Two-Face was originally supposed to be in the script and then they took him out and then just eventually gave Max Shreck all his lines. But upon my research, I found that that's not actually true. Two-Face was never actually put into the script. What a missed opportunity that was. But due to Tim Burton and Michael Keaton's obsession with this being more of a standalone film, they had to X out a lot of the characters from the previous movie so it didn't tie in too strongly. Hence why Vicky Vale wasn't there, or hence why Harvey Dent wasn't there anymore. But don't worry, we still have Alfred and the completely useless Commissioner Gordon.
What are you waiting for? The signal?
Awesome. Now, before I move on to the grading of this movie, I am going to point out some things I'm just being petty about. Just some minor things I noticed that really just bug me. Number one, Batman saying eat floor before he knocks Selina Kyle into the ground. That's weird. And when Bruce Wayne does this, that's not how CDs work. This thing falls down 4 times. Then Max Shreck actually has a gun the entire third act of the film, but only decides to use it against Selina Kyle and Batman, and not against Penguin, who had kidnapped him and threatened to murder his child. And then Penguin spits out this beautiful poetry.
I was their #1 son, and they treated me like #2.
Just some petty points. Every time I watch it, those things stand out as things. But overall, even though Tim Burton has a wonderful eye and really knows how to bring characters to life on the screen, his storytelling in this movie is subpar, overloaded, and discombobulated. Although he did manage to catch the essence of each character quite well in a unique and captivating way, and bring to life what I would consider Gotham City to be like if you ripped it straight out of the pages of the comic book and threw it into a cinematic world. That's how beautiful this movie is. And he turned it into a fun, not so family-friendly movie where I can easily put aside my issues with this film and just sit back and watch it and have a good time. And for those reasons, I'm giving this movie a B-.
I loved it.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there's my review for Batman Returns. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. Do you agree with me that it has some major issues? And are they as forgivable to you as they were for me? Or do you just all around hate or love this movie? Let me know in the comments below. And also, be sure to check out some more of my videos right here. And as always, stay trigger happy, my friends. Peace.
What you put in your toilet, I place on my mantle. Get the picture?
What is that supposed to hypnotize me?
No, just give you a splitting headache.
It's not working.
Ah, you big baby.